black storm coming. See the lightning strike. Black people rising.
You know, Malcolm X has said, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected and most neglected person in America is the black woman. And I thought about that because Malcolm, to me, was making a point that there are twin evils that are always attacking the black woman, and that is the idea of sexism and racism. On one hand, racism says that you're inferior because you're black. And sexism says that you're inferior because you're female. And through our journey here in America, the black woman has been under constant attack because she has been seen as being inferior because she's black, and is inferior because she's a woman. And therefore, when you think of the black woman, many times we see them as being disrespected, disregarded, neglected, abused, and misused. And this is a practice of the society we live in when we don't see the worth of a woman because she's black and she's a woman. So I think what Malcolm was also making a point of is that we're living in a time where we must become knowledgeable of the true contributions of black women. And this is why history is so important, because as much as the society may attack the character of the black woman, the fact is history reveals the true character of the black woman. So as we go through history, we can see who the black woman really is. So I think that's important, you know, in this idea of celebrating black women. You know, because when we celebrate the best of ourselves. And if we celebrate black women, we must recognize those black women who, through the ages, have contributed to the rise of humanity, the betterment of civilization, and really have been the foundation of civilization and humanity. So we celebrate the best of ourselves when we celebrate the best that we see in black women.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Umoja Circle. My name is Keith Smokey Johnson, and for those of you who are new to the Umoja Circle, the purpose of the Umoja is to correct errors where errors are found, and also to introduce facts where we find that so many people, so many of our people are working on fiction when it comes to who we are as people of African descent. And with this understanding, the Umoja Circle of purpose is knowing that when there is a shift in consciousness, then there'll be a shift in your world. And that's the purpose. We want to shift your consciousness, because the consciousness that you're working on right now, are you sure it's working for you? And today, as you see, before I came on the air, I did a little video by a brother that many of you might be familiar with. And he had some profound words talking about our black women and the importance and the knowledge and how we are treating them at this time. We forgot a lot of things, and that, like I said, in the Umoja Circle's purpose is to correct errors where errors are found. And there's a lot of negative narratives about black women today, which is an error, because the majority of them are not like what is being pushed to us. And with that, I would like to introduce my guest. In fact, he's a gentleman that was on that video who had those profound words, and we're going to discuss that. And Baba Anda Ma'at. Welcome to the Umoja Circle. Thank you.
Always an honor, brother. Appreciate it.
Before I go, I want to let you know who this man is. Now, he's an entrepreneur himself. He's got a bookstore called Ma'at and More.
Ma'at Bookstore and More.
And more. He is a producer, a director of a movie company. He's done movies, two movies about San Antonio.
Yes, sir. Black History of San Antonio.
Yeah, and another one was Walk on the Water.
Yes, sir. Walk on the River, a
Walk on
Black
the
history,
River.
Black history of the Alamo City.
And
So
and another one, too.
the African influence in San Antonio.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
this brother is just more than just somebody I'm having a conversation with. He is, also he does lectures too. And he just like me, he likes to deal with history and he talks about
doubt.
history. And he is a playwright. So this person that is sitting next to me is my pleasure to talk with on this topic of, as you can see by the video that you just listened to, knows what he's talking about. I want to start off by talking about some profound words that you said. I think you quoted Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
Can you go into detail or maybe repeat it to get some more?
Pretty much, Malcolm has said that the most disrespected, the most underappreciated, the most abused person in America is the black quote. But the idea is that Malcolm was acknowledging that the black woman is truly has been, and throughout American history, has been abused and disrespected. So one of the things, and I think I shared with you before about a quote by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, who said that the true worth of a race must be measured by the character of its woman. See, if you disrespect a woman, you disrespect a race. If you abuse the woman, you abuse the race.
And that quote reminded me of another quote that's kind of similar to that. And it says, and I can't remember, the speaker was unknown, but it always stuck with me for a decade. And it said, if you want to judge the character of a civilization, see how it treats its woman. And that's exactly, it is the kind of message that we got to understand, especially as black men in this country. It's how we treat our women to determine how civilized we are acting.
Yes, civilized or uncivilized.
Or uncivilized, based on how we treat our women, our black women. And I always found out many years ago through studying books like these, and I've been doing this show for 29 years, and I can't think of a better person to talk to about many of the topics that we've talked in the past. But I learned to love black women. I don't care about the other ethnic groups. I have no problem with who loves who or whatever. But I always have this understanding that she's always been there with us.
And I mean, I think it's natural and normal, especially growing up. Now, when we think about the black woman, of course, normally we think about those who were within our immediate family, those who touched us and guided us and loved us and nurtured us, in our beginning, and have been there by us, through this great journey that we've been on.
I always say that, you made me think of something, that when you have a little baby who have not been introduced into the cultural, religions, or philosophical concept, I always imagine that the first person that they think of God, since you come out of that womb, is mama. The word for God for that baby, the first word is mama. And you look at that.
Yeah, because in our essence, in all honesty, for as we know, as that child in our beginning stages, that mother is the world to us.
Exactly.
And I think that's why history is so important. And I want to just pause and say, brother, I just want to acknowledge you, because you have been a beacon of knowledge for our community, for 29 years here on the Umoja Circle, bringing about these kind of topics, this kind of information that is very much needed.
Exactly, man. It's very important, and I want to thank you. But also, I see, and I've been to a lot of the programs you put on to. Also another thing that you do is the Pan-African Cultural.
Yes, sir. We do the Pan-African Cultural Festival, Kwanzaa Market Festival. We do all kind of different programs, cultural events, but it's all centered around like what you're doing here, and that's centered around the history and culture of us as a people.
Exactly.
So
it's needed. It's
vital. It's vital.
A community that is well versed in its history and understand its cultural importance to each other, and our social strength comes from community.
That's right.
Not this thing that we've been conditioned to, and the only thing, the only people who deal with that is this rugged individualism.
Yes.
That's a concept that came out of the Ice Age. Every man for himself, because of the world that's around is scarcity. But we come from ancient people who had abundance. Heck, they're still in Africa digging out diamonds in South America.
No doubt.
South Africa. They're still
no
digging out cobalt. They're still that continent has been invaded by outsiders for thousands of years. And why is that? It's abundance there, and we had social constructs, that shared in that abundance.
But but that's why I think the subject that we're talking about today about the black woman, I think when we go back and look at our history, we see the true wealth. Of course, things that you talk about with the cobalt, the diamond, the gold, but the greatest wealth of Africa was the black woman, the black people of that continent. And I think when we talk about, and we open up with talking about the quote of Brother Malcolm and how we've been abused, the black woman, but the idea is that it is vital. It is vital that we go back in history and show the true worth of our woman and what she has contributed to humanity and civilization. So this is, I think, the conversation we're having today is vital. It's necessary to restore us.
To see two black men, two elders. I consider myself an elder now. Okay. I still got a lot to learn, because that's what you learn and know as an elder. The more you know, the more you see that you do not know, right?
No doubt.
And the more I study, and I've been doing this, like I said, 29 years, but I had to study books like these in order to do this show. And for 29 years, I've been reading, going to our language, going to our wisdom, and that's what I carry with me. That's why I carry myself not as somebody who thinks that it came from 1619 as an enslaved person, not looking at our women like the enslavers looked at our women as some kind of body or baby producing creature, but all as a partner. And you told me one time, and I always remember you said in one of our conversations that we must speak the language of those who came before us and understand their wisdom. Not only YouTube, but understand the wisdom of our ancestors.
And I agree, because the thing that's really important is that we should have conversations with our ancestors.
I do.
Now, we have these internal conversations. We talk to ourselves all the time, but that conversation should be very much guided by the conversation of our ancestors. So, for example, the great Fannie Lou Hamer, that great civil rights activist and leader out of Mississippi, she has said, basically, never forget where you come from and always praise the bridges that carried you over or carried you home. So basically, she's instructing us, go back, learn from that past, and raise up those who guided you, who loved you, who provided for you. Because in essence, if you remember them, you will be guided by their actions.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And people don't realize that our actions are our words in motion.
No doubt.
Okay, and if you got the proper words in your head, okay, the proper idea. People always look at sometimes at the behavior of some of our young ladies out here. But you got to understand that when the young, as an elder, we understand that it's not the behavior of the people that you focus on as they try to do that to distract us. You got to question the ideas that produces those behaviors. And if the information in your head is distorted, guess what your behaviors are going to be like? So this is the thing that we have to reassess and understand and go back.
That's right.
And reconnect, Sankofa, right?
Yes.
Go back and reconnect to those things. Anybody, it's right here in front of me.
We all can do it because the resources are there for us to do it. It's just pausing, taking time, slowing down enough for us to engage in these conversations, these ideas that will guide our thinking and ultimately our behavior. So when we think of the black woman, now, brother, when I think of the black woman, I think of the original woman, the mother of humanity and civilization,
Now, that's
Mitochondrial DNA, scientists.
science.
In 1987, they proved
yes.
that by testing women from all over the planet.
That's right.
And they trace it through a thing that's found on the oval, on the egg of the female, and called mitochondria. That's the DNA that they could trace back. And they use it, and they trace it all the way back to Eastern Africa. Yeah.
And of course, with that, they have found the oldest fossil remains of the woman in Africa. Now, they found a fossil remain going back over 4 million years. So we're not even going to go back there, but they called it Dinknesh. You are lovely. But the idea, thinking about this original woman who laid the foundation for humanity and civilization, who gave birth to all human beings.
Homo sapiens sapiens started as a black people.
Exactly.
And we don't know that. People got degrees, doctorate degrees, and had all kinds of schooling from kindergarten to middle school through high school, and nobody knows that.
Nobody raises that up. Because too often we start our history here on the shores of America enslaved. Yes. So
and it's not coincidental.
No. It's intentional.
I want people to understand.
It's intentional to disconnect us from our motherland, in the sense that we have to go back. So when we think about, I raised this question up with you, my brother, is that when you think of the original woman, you're thinking of the primary educator, the primary nurturer, the primary healer.
Primary provider.
Yes.
First farmers, people don't realize when men were going out to do the hunt, okay? There was always balance.
That's right.
Okay, and both male and female energies were providers.
Yes.
Okay, this separation again. This is a European concept. It's always been balanced. Ma'at.
Yeah. And that's a great point too, because I think as we talk about the black woman, we have to know that we're talking about complementary forces in the universe. Because in the African tradition, if there was a king, there has to be a queen. If it was a man, it has to be a woman. And in all honesty, if there's a god, it has to be a goddess. So it has to be a balance, and that's where we have to come back in and restore the history of us as a people, acknowledging the true value and worth of the black woman.
Your point just brought up another, like I say, always use our people's wisdom. And again, talking about a woman, I'm talking about, I bring up the knowledge and the wisdom of a great activist called Anna Julia Cooper, and she said that there is a male side of truth and a female side of truth. And if you only focus on the male side of truth, then you're only giving half of truth. These are the wisdom of our people that we can teach our children. Okay, there's another ancient African proverb when you want to talk about male and female, like we got this arrogant male model that's being passed on today in many of these shows that you see or podcasts, which is nonsense. It is said that, and I learned that from David Brother Carruthers, this another wise African ancestor, who said that he talked about the African tradition and many of the African ethnic groups. There's a saying that says, if the man considers himself the head of the household, then the woman is the neck.
I know that's right.
And one means that she supports. The head means nothing. You can have all the brains, but they ain't going nowhere without the support of that neck.
That's right.
Okay? When you want to go in a particular direction, the neck is what guides you in that direction. So you cannot work as this leader or head without the woman.
Yeah, no doubt.
At the foundation. That's our wisdom.
That's our wisdom. Can I do this, brother? I want to share a few names. Then I want you to come back and just tell me what you hear and some of the people that you know of. Because I wrote these names. I said, now, Pharaoh Hatshepsut, one of the first great women in history, recorded as a leader of a nation. So it was no question about the black woman being able to lead a nation because it was being done. That's right, a pharaoh. Then you had Queen Makeda, a leader of a nation. Then you had the great Queen Tai, who was really a diplomat, a leader, the grandmother of King Tut, and we're gonna show. I want to show you. I want to show you. Yeah, this image, and I think that you brought this, brother, and I love this image here.
Yeah, show the cover of the book. In the cover of the book.
The cover of the book Is that right there, family? You see that?
Praise the black women.
So the idea.
And Queen T. Let's show the Queen T.
Now I got to go back and find it. But the idea is that you have Queen T. So you're looking at this black woman here.
That's the sister, right?
That's the sister.
A Pharaoh.
Now, that was the mother of Akhenaten, who is said to be the originator of monotheism. But the idea, she was also the grandmother of King Tut. So when you think about these people of ancient Egypt and Kemet, as we think of the land of the blacks, you got to look at the black woman. Then you talk about Queen Mother Yasantewa, who led the Ashanti people in the fight against the British, or Queen Nzinga of Angola, who led the fight against the Portuguese during the period of enslavement. But then we come to the shores of America, we think about someone like Harriet Tubman, who not only gained her own freedom, but wanted the freedom of her people.
Went back and got her people. Sojourner Truth, who went into the South and told people, am I not a woman too? I'm a black, proud black woman. This is how you treat me. And she sued her master because he sold her son.
And then you walk through history. So we got the great Mary McLeod Bethune, or great Ida B. Wells, who was out there, a liberator, a fighter for her people, trying to end the lynching, the attack on black men and women and children.
That's what motivated Ida B. Wells. That's another one of my sheroes.
No doubt. Yes.
She had a bounty on her head. And, that's why she started, what did she do? She didn't crawl. She started a newspaper.
Yes.
And publishing about, like you said, lynching. That's strength.
Yes.
That's strength.
But see, and what we're raising up right here is just a few of the black women who are documented in history. So we talk about someone like Queen Mother Moore, who gave over 50 years of her life dedicated to struggling for reparations for us as a people. Or the great Fannie Lou Hamer, who suffered much, but was inspired, tired of being sick and tired. So the idea, what we're saying is that we can march through history and show the true value and worth of the black woman,
of who we are and who she is, and why we must support her. She has always, when we were considered boys, okay? You could be 50, 60 years old in 1820 and 1830s and 1700s in this country of land of the free.
Yes.
When you went home, she made you feel like a man. We owe the black woman our sanity. We owe the black woman our masculinity, because when you working and you got a 12-year-old white plantation kid, son of a plantation owner who owns you, he said, and you're told what to do by that 12-year-old child, or ridiculed by that 12, and you could not do nothing as a black man. It's the black woman who soothes you when you get whipped. She's the one there that's soothing your pain. So, that's that knowledge, but we got to lift up our black women. We're working on some dangerous and nonsensical imagery right now.
And I'm glad you brought that up, brother, because the idea in this day and time, we're not knowledgeable. We're ignorant of the true worth of the woman, the black woman. And I think we're living in a day and time where the value due to racism and sexism is undermining even more of the history and the contributions of the black woman. So when we look at today's time, we got to fight hard and struggle. And for example, brother, they just recently had this election, right? But one of the things I think that people don't want to acknowledge and to address is that one of the reasons that Ms. Harris was not elected is because she's living in a society, we're living in a world where racism and sexism is very dominant. So again, it goes back to what Malcolm said, the black woman is disrespected first because of her race, she's black, and then she's disrespected because she's seen as a woman. Both is said to make a person less than. So you less than because of your race and because of your gender.
That's what people don't realize. What happened? What happened in this election?
So this is why, in this very day and time, we have to restore the memory of us as a people, and again reclaim the true value and worth.
Listen to the voices of our ancestors. Listen to the voices. Because out of darkness of enslavement like I said, came the voices of Sojourner Truth and
That's
Harriet Tubman and
That's right.
David Walker and all that. Out of the darkness of segregation came W.E.B. Du Bois and Carter G. Woodson and all those things. We had people, and people don't realize, they know about Martin Luther King, but who ran the operation when Martin Luther King or Ralph Abernathy would go here and there and making speeches? It was a sister called Ella Baker.
That's right.
Ella Baker was the one who was the CEO of the Southern Christian Leadership.
Yeah, and instrumental in starting the.
She kept it going.
Starting the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee.
And one of the most vocal, organization of young black people was started by a black woman.
Yeah.
The Black Lives Matter movement, women.
And honestly, brother, and you just kind of just laid this out. The fact is that much of our salvation has been the fact that the black woman has maintained the foundation of the family and the community.
Directed us black men. You go take it out. Asante Wa. Didn't he have a quote that said that you go fight those damn foreigners?
If you don't fight them, we gonna go fight them.
And if you don't, you either fight them or come back on your shield. That's what this Queen Mother said to her powerful warriors. Remember the Woman King? I mean, it's kind of fictional, but it's based on actual women from Benin, right?
Yes.
People don't realize a lot of those young ladies, and we got a few more minutes, a few seconds, were captured prior to that and was taken to France. To Haiti. And a lot of the women that were part of the Haitian Revolution, some of them were those female warriors. Okay?
Yes, that's right.
And established part of the movement that created the Haitian Revolution. Black women from Dahomey, which were those women warriors from Africa.
Yes.
We don't know this rich history.
But it comes down to, and I know you've heard this saying, is that when you educate a woman, you educate a nation.
Thank you.
And a nation can rise no higher than its woman. So if we want to rise as a people, we must elevate our women, because in all honesty, they have been our foundation. And in many ways, I think they're going to be very instrumental in our whole salvation as a people and as a human family.
And that's a good spot to leave this segment. We're going to have a part 2. And it should be another interesting conversation with this brother, as you can see. But for now, I hope you understand how powerful knowing thyself. That's why on Egyptian temples, our ancestors said, know thyself first. Yeah. Okay? You can't love that's what is distorted inside of you. Okay? So, until next time, peace, Hotep. Bye-bye.